Hello and welcome to the DGCAD Consulting training on Revit Building 8 in the lessons we're calling A to Z Part 1. There's 22 video lessons to this A to Z Part 1, and this particular lesson is our introduction and interface. So I've just got a Word document in here, and I'm just going to scroll down, and this is really what I've done here is I've got Lesson 1, which is what we're going to do now, introduction and the interface. And then as I scroll down here, you'll see that I've got other topics coming up with other videos, basic floor plans, kind of an overview of plans, walls, doors, and windows. Then we'll talk about reference planes and elevations, datum points specifically. We'll talk about grids and grid columns. Some basic editing tools is our lesson 5. Then into lesson 6, 7, and 8 we've got visibility, creating elevations and sections, a little more detail outside of our general overview, which we'll do now. Different components and family members, family types, walls, specifically on walls, and some compound walls and how walls behave, specifics to floors, and then ceilings as well, roof objects, stairs is our lesson 13, curtain walls, curtain wall systems, sheets, and text annotation, printing. We've got dimensioning as lesson 18, tags and scheduling 19 and 20. Then we've got detailing and callouts and how that works in detail. And then we'll talk about legends in the final lesson. So not really any particular order of events. This is about as logical as we can do. We will be introducing other topics within each other simply because we will be introducing, for instance, say grids, and then early, and then we'll go back and specifically on lesson 4 just focus on that particular object. So we will be introducing different object types at different times. So just to go over to my Revit here, we'll start out with our introduction. Revit means, the term Revit is revise instantly, and it is a parametric 3D program that uses smart objects. The objects communicate and anchor with each other and basically give us the graphics to our design intent and what we're designing. It is a design program that also creates all of your documentation and your working drawings and print out hard copy sheets as you please, or you can print to a PDF or however you want. So it's a full design program, Revit and Revit Building, and you create the model, and then the documentation basically is taken from that model however you plan to extract that information. So parametric technology, smart 3D objects. You can link files together, and I will be using the other Autodesk CAD software names once in a while here, such as AutoCAD or ADT Architectural Desktop. So when I sometimes I'll use the term, for instance, XREF. In Revit we don't XREF. We can link files, and we can use work sets to control files that are linked to one another. We do have an interface to a DWG, so we can export our file to an AutoCAD, a DWG file, and it will put everything on the right layer. And there's also layer mapping that we can do that, so we can tie into Architectural Desktop and ADT with Revit, and I'll be pointing out some of the differences because I realize that quite often people are coming from AutoCAD and Architectural Desktop and have that thinking in mind. So I will be referencing back to DWG and ADT drawings here and there throughout the program here in the training. It is a project-based single file in Revit. So we'll be firing up our Revit in a second. It is one big file, and you can use work sets if you have multi-user people on the project. We always have a central file, and then we use our Windows login to check out different work sets from that central file and work on them, and then we save those files, relinquish them back to the central file at the end of the day, or part way through the day we save to central. Multi-user environment, different from AutoCAD. We Templates are very important in Revit. Whenever you have a template, you can start a drawing and have a standard residential or commercial or institution or multi-dwelling template file that you start off with in Revit, so that a lot of the stuff has already been set up in there. We know that from using templates in other software programs. So project-based single file. We have associated views that all update instantly. So I'm just going to switch over here to my Revit, and inside of Revit a lot of the stuff is not available until you go into a file. So I'm going to go File and I'm going to click on Open. And Revit's really nice because when you go into File Open, it gives you some really good shortcuts inside of here. So you can use the same files as myself here in the training. I'm just going to stick to the Revit training files, which is right over here, quite convenient and metric. And I'm just going to pull open a file, and of course last view, so it'll open it with the last view, or you can change that to be a different view if you don't want to open it with that particular view. As you add and open different views, right now the only window open is this particular view, which is this 3D view. But I'm going to go inside of here. Oh, and I can see I've got some, I want to delete those. Those were from previous lesson, so I'm just going to get rid of those views. Don't pay attention. And now if I go to, say, the first floor plan, I double click on that. Now that window opens. If I go window now, I'll be able to see, well, there's my 3D view and there's my floor plan view. Or I can just simply click on here, or I can click back to here and we'll flip-flop. If I go window tile, what it'll do is it'll tile those two windows apart. And if we have more screen space, of course, we can do that. And as we click objects and place objects in here, and you can see there's a wall missing on this side, which is over here. If I click on this particular wall, you'll see it highlight here and you'll see it highlight here. If I hit delete, I actually delete that wall and it gets deleted from both places. If I go in here and I click on that door that's right there, okay, it highlights, or that window, and I'm going to hit delete. It's going to delete the object from both places. I'm going to use my wheel button here. I'm going to wheel in and out, okay, back into here. Okay, I can click on this particular door. You'll see it highlight over there. I can move it if I want. I don't have to delete it. In this case I will, just to demonstrate, and it'll go from there. And then we've got different objects, and so I'm just really talking about the windows here and the fact that you do have different windows, and we have some shortcut keys. SD will give me a shaded view, and HL will switch that back. Similarly here, HL will give me just a hidden line view. SD gives me my shaded view. So we've got our different views inside of here, and they update accordingly. Let's go back into here and check our notes. So when I'm going to start a new file, and I'm going to show you where you can get a template, and we'll just see where that is inside. So if I go up here and I go File and I say New, it's going to say, what do you want, a new family, which is kind of like a bit like a block, but it's more universal because it will sit on the server or on your hard drive and it gets pulled into your drawings. I can create a new title block specifically, which is its own little kind of environment. An annotation symbol, if you want to create your own symbols and annotation objects, you say File, New here, and then New Project. When I pick New Project, I can then go inside of here, and if I scroll to the end, I can see it's using an RTE, a template file, and it's just using this particular template file. I can go browse and I can pick a project there. Or if I say new, I can actually create a project template right in here. So by saying I'm going to create a new template based on this template, or right now I'm going back to saying no, I'm actually creating a project file, which is not an RTE, it's an RVT file, Revit extension. So new project, inside of here I hit OK. It would use that template file, and then I would start off with a brand new file, and it would load it up based on that. And there's really nothing in there except for that it's got some pre-created elevations that are sitting inside of here, and if you draw in here, it'll automatically get created. If I go to my first level and I go in and I draw a wall on there, hit escape, and I go back to my south elevation, well, there's my wall that I just drew on level 1, and that's the height of it. And of course I can take that object and you can grip them and do all kinds of stuff, and it will update in all of the views. If I look